Hello and welcome to another edition of Around the Ice here on Fantasy and Frames. I'm your host, JT, along with Toast. Aaron can't make it today. We're going early show today, folks. Usually we go on 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central on Tuesdays. Illinois Bowl games coming up. I got my sweatshirt going see games at 5:30. So we're going early today. Me and Toast off of work. We're going to do a little bit different show today, just for everybody that might be joining in. Usually we have a multiple breakdowns. We do fantasy breakdown. We do a gambling breakdown, all those things. 5 games on the slate today. We're going to break down every game and a betting and fantasy angle for you today since we have the time. Toast, how you doing? Getting all pumped here. New Year's coming up. Illinois game here later. How you doing?
Yeah, good, JT. I'll be honest with you. Fantasy football is wrapped up, and congratulations to you, JT, for winning so many leagues. I actually had not a bad showing this year. I made a championship in 2 out of my 5 leagues, and was second to you in the big money league in our home dynasty league. So it was fun, but I'm glad to get football out of the way, so we can go ahead and just concentrate on hockey from here on out. And also we got World Juniors going on right now. It's been a whole lot of fun. I got NHL Network on Sling, so I've been watching some of those games. JT, your boy, and Blackhawks prospect Anton Frundell has actually really showed out in this tournament so far. It would be shocking to me if he actually wasn't with the Blackhawks next season. And it'll have to see if he's going to make it to the Hawks after the Swedish Hockey League season is actually over, and if there's a few games left for this season as well. So anyway, we'll break all that down. But yeah, super happy to now have hockey be the only thing to actually worry about from here on out, and really we'll finish strong.
I agree with you. I need to. It's now time that fantasy football is over. I can put my concentration on fantasy hockey. I need to get some of my teams turned around here for the hockey season. But yeah, thank you for the congratulations. I actually won 10. I was in 10 championship games. I won all 10. I don't know how that happened. I remember one year I went 0 for 11 and how bad that hurt. So I was pretty pumped to win all 10. And I also went 9 for 11 in third place games with most of my best teams ended up playing the third place games, if you can believe it. I beat you and our buddy, your co-owner, Mike, in our 217 Dynasty. I hated to take you guys down, but I have to tell you, man, I am stoked. I have never won the league, despite having one of the better winning percentages in league history since we started this league 10, 12 years ago. I've never won the championship. I've lost multiple times in the first place in the championship game, but I've never won. Got it done this year. Hated to take you guys out, but at least I got one. So I was pumped about that. But like I said, now that football's over, hopefully you're getting your payments out. I've got to do that today. I told everybody, I was like, I got a podcast, some stuff to do, and then I got to get payments going out to everybody for all the leagues that I commish. But I'm pumped about hockey. Before we get into these games, I just want to talk for a second about Frandal. Dude, there was a Twitter today. Somebody posted one of him just lacing a shot in the top right corner. I was like, oh, Toast. I'm getting so excited for him. I love the World Juniors, especially when you get to see some of these guys that got drafted and you maybe haven't seen them play because they're overseas guys, like him being in Sweden. You probably, a lot of people probably haven't seen a lot of highlights and stuff of him. I took a shot in our home league and I took him number 1 overall. It was a little bit of an iffy move. People are like, ooh, like you went number 1 with him. I did because we got a little more of a bangers league. He's a big guy. I think he'd get me points there. I'm feeling better about this all the time. I know Misa is a stud. He's going to be great. But, man, I cannot wait to see him get to the big club. Hopefully get online with Connor Bedard would be amazing. But we're getting to see some really good players. If you have not watched this, the Juniors, World Juniors on NHL Network, go ahead and do yourself a favor and start tuning into that as we're seeing some really good players that are going to be probably household names in the NHL here in a couple years. So it's a good look at that. Toast, let's jump in to the games we've got going today. First one, let's talk about 6 p.m. start. I think that's Central time, right? Or am I wrong on that?
Central.
6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. We've got the Devils taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. jump in here. Let's start with the fantasy angle first, and then let's jump into your gambling points for today on that game.
Yeah, JT, this is two struggling teams right now, and I tell you, it's bottom of the barrel for Toronto right now. They're dead last in that division. The Devils are actually third to last in their division as well. Neither team actually looking strong whatsoever. You got two goalies going tonight, Jacob Markstrom and Joseph Wall. Neither one of them actually have looked very, very good of late, and or as a whole anyway. And from a fantasy perspective, I tell you, last 5 games, both teams, but especially the Devils, have been really quiet. They haven't put up a lot of points. They're actually really, I think if I remember, 9 goals in the last 5 games for the New Jersey Devils. So it hasn't been pretty. Jack Hughes is back, JT. So that's nice. He's had 3 games since his injury. Come back there. He's been out after, if the reports remember, he sliced his hand on leaning on a glass. I'm like, first thing when that came up, I'm like, was he drunk? But I guess it could have happened, whatever. But he's got 6 shots on goal, JT, in these last 3 games, a goal. Maybe Hughes actually just needs a couple more games to really get going, and the team will get going. But Timo Meier, he's starting to shoot a lot. 16 shots on goal in his last 3 games. He's on line 1 with Heischer, who's been very, very quiet. He's only on power play 2, but Timo Meier is actually a guy, if you can get him in a category league trade, I still like him to have on a dynasty team moving forward, because he does a little bit of everything. He'll hit, he'll do some blocks, he shoots a puck a ton, and he's getting really, really good deployment on what is it's supposed to be a good team. JT, I noticed your boy tonight for the Maple Leafs, a struggling Maple Leafs team, William Nylander out day to day, and then Austin Matthews, a game time decision as well. I just can't think of any positives right now in Toronto.
Worse for Toronto, right? I mean, it's like this team, you look at them and you're like, how is this team as bad as they have been? I know we talked about it, me and Aaron, on the last podcast last week, but man, Nylander has absolutely been killing me in fantasy. He is finally, the last 2 games, now he's out with the injury. The last 2 games, he finally got a 4-point game against Pittsburgh a couple days ago, right before Christmas. Before that, it was, if I remember correctly, it was like 11 or 12 games he had gone without a goal. And in those 12 games, he had only scored a point in like 3 of them. That's insane. It has been just brutal for him. He got the 4-point for you last week. Like I said, last week before Christmas, he got an assist, 1 goal against Ottawa a couple days ago before the break. Now we're going to see he's out now. This Toronto team, I don't know what to think about them. It's all the talent. They lost Marner, but like, I know the goaltending's bad, but what else is going wrong with this team? It just seems like this team is totally off.
Yeah, the karma, or I guess the energy looks way off. They beat the Blackhawks 3-2 about a week ago, and the Blackhawks actually completely collapsed, just beat the hell out of Toronto up and down on their home ice for 58 minutes of that game, and had a full blown out collapse. And really, Toronto had no business winning that game at all. And since then, really, they've almost looked like that every single game. No energy, lack of effort. Definitely, you could tell everybody's frustrated. Coaching staff's frustrated as well. You got Austin Matthews, who again doesn't appear to be 100%. He never seems to be 100%, right? But not 100% as well. Now you got actually Nylander out day to day. Matthew Nyes is starting to pick it up a little bit of late too. But you have a top heavy team that actually doesn't really have the depth. They actually really just don't have a good energy about them, JT. And I would be really, it's hard to be a Toronto Maple Leafs fan right now. But there is opportunity from a fantasy angle. Bobby McCann, line 3, only owned at 30%. He's actually been decent of late. And Nick Robertson as well has found the back of the net a few times over the last 5 games as well. Only 17% owned on Fantrax, getting line 2 deployment. Nice streamers, right? They shoot a lot. They'll both actually give you some hits as well. But from a gambling perspective on this game here, JT, 7 out of the last 8 games have actually gone over the 5.5. And 6 of those have actually gone over the 6.5 goals as well. So the line tonight is 5.5. I think at minus 125. I the way these goalies have actually been as shaky and these teams actually have been that great, I really like the over.
I love the over too. I was going to say the same thing. I had Markstrom on a couple fantasy teams, and he has not been good this year. He's
Nope.
been injured, banged up a little bit, but the stats are just bad. He's 9-8-1 with a 3.33 goals against and an 883 save percentage. It has not been pretty for him. We know the goaltending for the Maple Leafs has not been good. The only thing I can think of why this line is as low as it is because Nylander's out. Both these teams have struggled to score lately, but
Yeah.
I think this game has overwritten all over. I think both these goalies are going to struggle. I think both these teams might finally get some goals behind them. But yeah, this one's ugly. But I think I'm with you. I would jump over to the 5.5 goals on this.
Yeah, and luckily Joseph Voll's actually been pretty good in December here for Toronto. So you hope that maybe he can actually carry them. The Toronto could actually find some guys that actually light the lamp tonight against a very shaky Markstrom, and that maybe I could see wouldn't shock me at all. We got a 4-2 game, right? 4-2 game, 5-2 game, somewhere around there. Toronto actually maybe just finding the net on some. But those are the plays. I like the over. I don't really have any props in this game either because, again, nobody in Toronto is looking great. Neither is New Jersey as well. They've been very quiet, so I probably stay off any props in this game. But play the over. For me, I'm actually looking at some of these other games tonight. That this one's one of the more uninteresting games for me, JT.
Yeah, let's move on to the Hurricanes versus the Penguins, a 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central start. In goal tonight, we got Freddie Anderson against Stuart Skinner. Skinner, after the trade, he's up. What are we looking like in this game? Where's the feels fantasy wise, gambling wise? What are we looking at?
Yeah, from a fantasy angle, you got to look at guys like Logan Stankoven, who's actually been very disappointing this year for Carolina after been traded over from Dallas. Supposed to take a next step, really has taken steps back. But you got to actually take a chance for him because Carolina plays 5 times this week. They played last night as well. One of those crazy five games in a week on the schedule. But Stankoven's actually going to be getting a lot of time here with Seth Jarvis going to be out for a couple weeks. And really, Andrei Svechnikov is actually really taking that next step, and really they're starting to give him the playing time he deserves. And I'm not really sure what they were trying to do with him early on in the season with Brendan Moore and that team, where really they were like putting him down on line 3 and not even giving him power play time hardly at all. And now they actually have him on line 1, power play 1. That's exactly where he belongs. Lately, 3 goals, 6 assists, 10 pens, 15 shots on goal, and 18 hits in the last 6 games. So I like Svechnikov in a trade possibility. If you can pick him up, he won't be available in any leagues off of waivers or free agency. But if you can get him in a trade, this is a guy, especially in a Bangers League, he does a little bit of everything. And I think that his best hockey this season is actually yet to come. I look for him to have a big second half. Again, Stankoven may be a guy you actually want to pick up. JT, there was another talk about trades. Our guy Igor Chinikov, one of the other Russians that actually from Columbus Blue Jackets, so many they actually had over there. He'd asked for a trade last year, if you remember right, and so they after he asked for the trade, man, he was really in a doghouse. They were hardly playing him at all last year, or the end of last year, and then all of this year as well. He finally gets that trade, and Pittsburgh gives up a ton, man. They give up a second round, a third round, and Danton Heinen as well. He actually goes over for Chinikov. That tells you how much Pittsburgh thinks of a guy like Chinikov.
Yeah, I was a little shocked they gave up that much for him, but
yeah,
especially Pittsburgh, where they're kind of in this middle ground. He is young, though, so you can see that. I wasn't super surprised to see the move by the Blue Jackets, like you said, asked for the trade, but also, man, they're really tanking this year. It's for all the good feels we had last year for the Blue Jackets, it's kind of going the opposite way this year. When I saw the trade, I was like, oh, this makes sense to get more draft picks and kind of keep trying to build that young team. A guy that was injured who's back off of injury, helping me in a lot of places because I needed him to come back, is Ricard Raquel, starting to turn it up just a little bit here late.
Yeah. I was just looking at the stats here, Raquel. In the last 5 games, he's got 20 shots on goal. He's got a line one, power play one as well. He gets that top deployment with Crosby and Rust. I mean, what's there not to like there? And again, he's had a good last week and a half here where he's starting to come on. Rust is starting to come on as well. Crosby is still doing what Crosby actually does. There's no doubt. And so you really wonder, even getting back to Chinikov there, I wonder where they're going to slot him in at. You don't give up that much for somebody that's just going to be slotted in the bottom six. You got to play top 6 minutes, and Chinikov, I think, will probably come in right away, be on the second line there. It'd be with a guy like Mantha, and you may even get some top line deployment. But Pittsburgh, hey, they may have overachieved early on in the season. They're starting to kind of come down to earth right now. But I really, really still like them from a fantasy angle. I think they can do a whole lot. And Pittsburgh, JT, as we get into the gambling angles here, you got to love their power play. Pittsburgh has a top 3 power play in the entire league, 30%. And I did actually, speaking of Mantha, I picked him up this week, and I think he's going to be a good stream. But I like some of the prop bets here, JT. I don't know if you actually had a chance to look at this game from prop bets, but there's a few anytime goals I really like.
Yeah, there's this game has been really an under between these two teams. If you look at it, you feel like Carolina's usually an under team just with the way they play. But it's gone 7 out of 8 have been under. But both these goalies, Freddie Anderson, Stuart Skinner tonight,
Awful.
They've been struggling. Are you going with the under when the history says 7 out of 8 take the under? Or are you going I'm switching that. These goalies, I don't love them. I'm going the over.
Yeah, I'm going over as well, over 6.5. I think you could probably get that at close to plus money, if not plus money, just because the trending, right, has gone to the under. But I think this is a prime spot to go to the over with these two goalies here, and especially with Carolina actually coming to Pittsburgh, playing on a back-to-back, right, in 5 games and 7 days on this deal here. So I definitely like this to actually go to the over. Really, an anytime goal scorer, Jackson Blake, man, scored 4 goals in his last 6 games. You can get him at plus 290. Eric Robertson, I'm like, who the hell is that, right? But Eric Robinson for Carolina as well, down on the 4th line. How is a 4th liner actually getting close to 20 shots on goals in the last 6 games as well? Only at
That's
Carolina
wild,
can
right?
you do something like that.
That is wild that he is. When I saw that when you had kind of brought him up, I was like, I got to go look this guy up. I couldn't even figure out who he was, and I was like, oh man, I was like, that is crazy. 20 shots on goal, like you said, in the last 6 games, and it has 3 goals for a plus 600. It's worth a stab in the dark, throw that in a little anytime goal parlay with a couple bucks on it. Could get you some pretty good odds.
Yeah. And so at the end of the show here, JT, I'm going to go ahead and reveal the toast takes for today. And basically, the only thing I have today is normally I've been putting together these 2-leggers that go for like maybe plus 200, plus 250, somewhere around there. But today, the only one I actually really, really like is let's go ahead and go for the lotto pick, the lotto parlay. I got one put together, but I can tell you, Brian Rust, anytime goal, plus 210. Really like the way Rust is looking right now. I actually think that Freddie Anderson, with actually Hurricane being back-to-back here as well, I think there'll be goals aplenty for Pittsburgh. And so Rust will be part of that. Plus 210. That looks really, really good. And Chris Letang as well has got assists in 3 straight games. You can get him still any time assist for plus 210. So, and again, with that power play, and I know that Carolina probably doesn't actually draw or go to the penalty box too often in the game. They probably don't. They're probably only going 2 to 3 times a game. But nevertheless, you think that maybe they can cash in on one of those tonight. But I like Brian Rust, anytime goal, plus 210.
Nice. We'll have to throw, like you said, we'll put all that together here at the end of the show and kind of tell you guys, get you some bets overall at the end of the show. Let's move on to the Canadiens versus the Panthers. Again, another 7 Eastern, 6 Central start time. We got Sam Montembeault and Daniil Tarasov at goalies today. What are we thinking about this game? Canadiens, Panthers.
Yeah, it's Montebo's first game back since December 9th. I actually have him in our Dauber categories dynasty league and stuff, and he's been god awful all year. Montebo is so good last year and actually had such a nice little run there. And Montreal is a team that's on the rise, but I'll tell you, they just really haven't got the steady goaltending from Montebo that they actually expected. And so you just don't really know what you're going to get with Montebo tonight. He could actually come in there and actually be average, or he could just be flat out awful. I don't really see he's going to come in and be real good tonight. I mean, you got to shake the rust off. So it hasn't actually started an NHL game, and in 3 weeks from today. So we'll see how that actually goes. But really, the plays for me here is, man, it's all Florida Panthers. I love the Panthers here tonight. And from a fantasy perspective, there's really no guys you can actually go out and get other than the fact that if you can actually get Lundell and Florida in a dynasty league, you got to really like what actually Anton Lundell's actually doing this year, JT. He has been better than expected. With Matthew Tkachuk actually being out, he's actually taken that next step and actually really taken a lot of the burden on his shoulders and actually has ran with it. And like Lundell, like him tonight for an anytime goal as well, plus 280. But Marchand, Reinhart, Bennett, man, they've all been red hot over the last 6 games. And from a fantasy angle as well, that kind of leads us right into a gambling angle. You really got to factor those guys in on the gambling card tonight. Young guy, Slavkovsky, he doesn't seem so young, and he's more, I think it's his 3rd or 4th year in the league after being #1 pick overall, and what was I think it was a 2022 draft. Like, this is not a very great draft anyway, and but he's been real good, man. In the last 8 points in the last 5 games, 4 goals, 16 PIMs, and 14 shots on goal. That sounds like a banger's beauty, doesn't it, JT? And then
Absolutely.
throw in Ivan Demidov. Ivan Demidov is now starting to actually come on, and he's getting good deployment. He's getting really good deployment. They're actually starting to actually give him some great deployment, and you wish that actually Matvei Michkov from Philadelphia would actually get the same treatment that actually Demidov's starting to actually get over in Montreal. But Demidov's actually just strengthening his case for the Calder. So I mean, he's for rookie of the year. I mean, he's doing it. Actually, it's no surprise to anybody, but him and Dobson and Hudson and Slavkovsky, they've all been really good from a fantasy perspective in the last 5 games. JT, I don't know if you actually saw as well though, but Hudson's actually got 8 assists in his last 5 fantasy games, or past 5 games as well. But I went and looked at the assist. It's a -155 today, so that's not really the one I actually want to play.
Yeah, that one's tough with it all being that bad odds at -155. Yeah, this one's a toughie. Man, with the goalies, I want to go Canadians tonight, but you just don't know coming off the injury how he's going to play in goal. So that one I'm going to have to think on a little bit, decide if I want to actually put that one in a possible parlay or not on that one. Let's talk about Blackhawks. Why not? Let's talk about the Blackhawks. We never talk about them on this show. It seems like, I know I'm joking. We talk about the Blackhawks. New York got the Islanders at the Blackhawks, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, which is perfect time for us. Illinois football game should be ending. We'll go right in to the Blackhawks hockey game. It's a great setup for us today here in Illinois. We got David Rittich against Spencer Knight. I've been loving what Spencer Knight's doing this year. Feel like we talk about him every show, but why not? He's been great. What are we looking at tonight for the Blackhawks? It looked like they were in trouble without Bedard, and then all of a sudden they're getting a little bit of juice back, it looks like.
Yeah, and before we actually cover that game, JT, I do want to mention something real quick on the Montreal Florida game as well. As far as something from a gambling angle here, Tarasov has not been good. Montebo, we said basically it's kind of unknown right now. The over 6.5 goals actually looks really good. The series total, these two are usually the under. So again, I think there's an opportunity for the over there this time. I like a Brad Marchand assist as well, plus 105. But Florida money line -125. I think Florida should actually be better at -125. That should be probably -150, 155, I think. So I like Florida money line. But going into the Chicago game here, Riddick, Spencer Knight, man, Knight got pulled last time out. And that doesn't happen with Knight too often. I can't remember the last time that he's actually pulled as a Blackhawks goalie. I expect Spencer Knight to actually have a bounce back game tonight with the Islanders coming in. The Islanders like to actually play a low scoring game as well, kind of a close to the vest game. That's what the Blackhawks kind of like to do or forced to do, considering their lack of talent, even though they do have some team speed, but they're banged up. Bedard's not actually in there. Nazar's actually not in there as well. You're forced to actually look at those dirty goals, right? You're looking for goals from your defensemen, and Bertuzzi keeps scoring dirty goals in front of the net as well. So I expect this to be a low scoring game. I like the under 5.5 here for tonight, and really, JT, I actually went and picked up a guy named Mark Gatcomb, and he's a banger, man, from the Islanders. And I want to bring up his stats real quick here for the season. I went and picked him up. And if you're actually in bangers leagues and you're just looking for in a deep bangers league, you're just looking for a guy to get hits and just beat the shit out of people, Gatcomb is your guy. So I want to bring up his stats here. I want to go over this with everybody here real quick. Here's the guy's stats on the season here so far. 13 games played. So 10 minutes time on ice a game. Not very good as well either, right? He only got 2 penalty minutes, so he doesn't go to the box often as well. You're getting him in a categories league for hits and hits only, and actually in a bangers league for hits only as well. 66 hits in 13 games as well. He's averaging 6 hits a game. So I picked him up a couple weeks ago, and honestly, I think I'm going to stream him for a while. I really like him. In our league, JT's averaging like 4.5 fantasy points a game because we do half
That's
points
phenomenal.
for hits. And,
yeah, because we get a lot of hits. I did not realize he up at that 66 hits. I need to go look at the old waiver wire in our home league, and I need to go over there and hit the hits button, tap that sucker, and see who's got some big hits. Because that's one I just completely missed. That is a great pickup by you.
Well, here's kind of like how I like to run my bangers leagues that I actually either I'm commissioning, I'm actually that we're all members in. JT is I really like to kind of do the whole. I used to be in a fantasy NASCAR league with my brother Gail, and Gail's been on the podcast a few times here, and JT, you may have actually been in that fantasy NASCAR league years back. And what we'd actually do is you'd have 5 drivers, and you'd have so much budget to be able to purchase drivers with. So what I'd like to do is do what I call the 4 studs and a dud, right? Your 4 studs and a dud. You're like, I'm going to load up on the top 4 with 4 studs. And at the bottom, I'm actually going to have a dud that I actually just hopes gets lucky, finishes in the top 20. That's the type of guy that Mark Gatcomb is as far as from a fantasy bangers perspective. What you want to do with 75 to 80% of your roster is try to load up on studs. And in the last 20% of the roster, don't even think about it. Just get guys that just beat the crap out of one another, whether it be pins, whether it be blocks, whether it be hits. And if they get in maybe 14, 15 minutes of time on ice, like I got Mark Kastelik from Boston. I got AJ Greer from Florida. I got Mark Gatcomb here from the Islanders. So there are guys out there where you can just like, you know what? They're going to get me 3 points a night on this fantasy team because they may get a shot on goal or 2, but they're going to get me 4 or 5 hits. And that's going to give you 2.5 to 3 points. And if they get anything else, that's just gravy, right? So you solidify that floor when you actually get guys like this on your team. So, don't have to go by over where he's rostered. 6%, that's no surprise at all. But he's only got 10 minutes of time on ice, man. If he could bump that up to 13, 14 minutes time on ice, he probably averaged like 8 hits a game. So it's kind of like Gale's guy over there in Minnesota, Yakov Trenin. And Trenin actually is also a hits machine as well. So you got to have some of those guys in a banger league.
Yeah, one of the guys on my team that I seem to always end up with them on my team in a bangers league is Paul Cotter.
Yes.
Again, another guy, 100 hits, 100 blocks. He's only got 5 goals and 5 assists this year. I mean, he's not doing anything for you, really, as far as that's concerned. But he's like a nice floor guy. I'm never expecting 5 or 10 points out of him, but if I can get like 3 to 4 a night out of him, I feel pretty good about it. You know, he's filling a spot on the roster, and he's getting me something somewhere. So yeah, those guys are always good guys to have. In either a bangers league or, like you said, like a cats league, where you're like, okay, this guy's not going to give me any goals, not going to give me any assists, but he's going to hit me up in the other spots as far as hitting, blocks, all that is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. And Andrews Lee is another guy. 4 points in the last 5 games, only 45% owned. I like Lee. I think, again, if you're looking to get a safe bottom guy on your roster, that's just safe, right? He's not going to carry a team, but he's just going to be a safe play. He's a real good bottom guy, I call those bottom guys, but the good bottom guy to have on your team. I would definitely like the, in those large roster leagues where you're actually carrying, let's say, 30 active players in those dynasty leagues and not counting your minor leaguers. It really is a perfect bottom guy. Emil Heineman, also for the Islanders, has been really good, real good of late. Young guy, 24 years old, line one, power play one, and he's looking to take advantage of that. He's been shooting a puck a ton. And Bo Horvat just came back, and I got Horvat in our dynasty league as well, and he just came back. So you would think that's going to give the Islanders a little bit of boost, but JT, from a gambling perspective here, this is a game where I just think that even though these teams don't trend towards actually moving the game to overtime and you're actually looking at the draw for a bet, I just think this has a good draw feel to it tonight. You got the Blackhawks who are going to actually want to play that close, tight game. That's what the Islanders are going to want to do as well. And you got Spencer Knight coming off an awful performance. So he is not going to actually want to repeat that. I think Spencer Knight will be very good tonight, and Riddick's been solid as well. This has just got 2-2 going into overtime, a 3-2 overtime winner by one of the teams written all over it for me. The draw is a good play, plus 300 you can get it at prior to puck drop. So look at that.
I like that. I like your under here. I like the under 5.5. I'm putting
Yeah.
that together in one of my bets. I'm kind of putting together here on my phone. So we'll look at that. We'll talk about that here in a minute. We'll break those down. One more game to break down here before we go over our final bets of the evening. Philadelphia Flyers at Vancouver Canucks, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central. This is the late game of the night. We got Dan Velarde and Thatcher Demko going against each other. What are you looking at in this game?
Well, Demko's been great. He really has. As he come back from injury, Demko's been really good, and Vladar's actually been really good as well. This is a classic under game. Even if you could actually tease it and go ahead and buy the half a goal and get it to under 6, and buy a little bit of juice there and put it in a parlay, that's going to be a really good play. Philadelphia, they're last in the league in shots on goal. So Demko, 23.5 saves is his line tonight. Under 23.5 saves for Demko as well. Vancouver actually plays. They play a very similar game, a very similar game. Vancouver's near the bottom in shots on goal as well. From a fantasy perspective, there's not a whole lot to be excited about, but you can actually, again, you can get some of those bottom guys on both these teams. And we understand that Kiefer Sherwood's actually been awesome for Vancouver. He's actually now after the trade where they actually sent over Hughes over to Minnesota. Sherwood's actually he's kind of the guy right now. And Elias Pettersson's back, but we all hate Elias Pettersson. I like Kiefer Sherwood here. I got Trevor Zegras. JT, you got shares of Trevor Zegras, and for Philadelphia, he's been phenomenal for Philadelphia. But there's a guy, Carl Grundstrom. I like a pickup of Carl Grundstrom. In 11 games played this year, and Grundstrom's a 28 years old. Kind of been around. He was actually drafted by Toronto, 57th overall in the 2016 draft. But Grundstrom this year, in 11 games played, 6 goals and an assist. And I'm like, okay, this isn't going to last. It won't last, right? 33% shot percentage there, only 13 minutes time on ice. But I like the fact that he gets 29 hits so far in 11 games. So he's hitting almost about 3 times a game. He got 7 blocks, which isn't awful. Shots on goal, 18. So he's getting over about a shot a game as well. But Grundstrom's just a guy that's a good streamer, and he's been really good of late. And you just hope to ride his little hot streak, So go out and maybe get Gunstrom, Linus Carlson as well for Vancouver. Again, these are in deep leagues. They actually go out and get these guys. Okay, so but rookie eligible, 16 points in 35 games played, 47 hits in 35 games as well. But man, only 10, 20 in time on ice. But of late, JT, 4 goals in his last 4 games. And what you actually like as well is the fact that he's doing all that in a very limited amount of time on ice. That time on ice has actually got to go up, man. He's only getting about 10, 11 a night. That's about it. So, but again, on a little bit of a hot streak, and with them making that trade and kind of shaking things up a lot, who knows? It made us stick, and let's hope that ice time can actually go up a little bit.
I like it. Let's put it all together here and look at betting.
Where's my money? You gonna give me my money? Where's my money, man?
All right, so we kind of broke down all the games tonight, only 5 games tonight. We've talked about some of the betting angles. Here's a bet I'm putting together from what we did tonight, and then Toast, you can jump in with some here for the people. I'm taking all 5 games. I'm going to do an over-under in every game. I'm going to take all 5 games. This is what I'm breaking down. I'm going to take Hurricanes, Penguins, the over 6.5. Canadians, Panthers, I'm going to go the over 6.5. Devils, Maple Leafs, I'm going to go over 5.5. Islanders, Blackhawks, I'm going to go under 5.5. And I'm actually going to go alt line for Vancouver Flyers. I'm going to buy a point, and I'm going to go under 6.5 in that one. You add all those up all together, you get plus 2,196 on FanDuel, or excuse me, on DraftKings, 2,196 on DraftKings. Throw a couple bucks on there. I like it. Gives me something to watch, pay attention to tonight for the 5 games. Toast, what do you got in store for everybody?
Yeah, I like that, JT. I'm gonna go ahead and throw just a $10 bill on that. See if I can win a couple $100, right? Give you something to watch tonight, and who knows, you end up getting past those 6:00 Central games. Then you know what? You're thinking, all right, I got 3 of them out of the way and 2 more to go. Then you actually really need those unders to actually start coming, right? So lots of goals early on, and then as the night goes on, let's go ahead and just cool off, cool down, and that's right. But I actually my Toast takes for the night. I like, again, I was saying a Brian Rust anytime goal. So this is a 4-legger I'm putting together. And then I really do like that Florida game. And I think Florida is going to put up quite a bit of goals here tonight. I just truly think they've won 8 out of their last 10 or 11 games. They're starting to actually really do it offensively. And on our thumbnail tonight for promoting our show tonight, JT, Matthew Tkachuk's on there. And old Matthew Tkachuk's coming back soon. So I would imagine here in the next couple of weeks, maybe even a week and a half, you're going to see Tkachuk back. And boy, Florida's actually done a real good job weathering the storm. I think they're like 20, 14, 5, somewhere around there, and holding down that last playoff spot without him, and especially without their captain as well. So only thing better. But I like Florida tonight. There's 2 props, and I like a Brad Marchand assist. Marchand has been carrying them, man. I mean, he's been unbelievable of late. I think he's got 6 assists in his last 6 games. You can get that on its own for plus 105. Anton Lundell anytime goal at plus 290. And then in the late one of the later games, Chicago said that Chicago versus Islanders game is going to have dirty goals. This is going to be dirty goal game written all over it. And that's kind of where Tyler Bertuzzi actually excels. And Bertuzzi's been doing that a lot lately. I think he's got 17 or 18 goals on the season. All of them are right in front of the net. Rebounds, you name it, he's right there. So I have, again, Brian Rust anytime goal, Tyler Bertuzzi anytime goal, Anton Lundell anytime goal, and a Brad Marchand assist that's going to throw it in there. We're looking at plus 68.44. I'm going to go ahead and put 10 on it, and we'll see if we can win close to 700 tonight. So again,
boom, I like that.
Let's get past the Rust game and get that goal, and then we'll get a little bit interesting after that.
Very, very nice. That is actually going to wind it down for us. Only 5 games a night, so we went through, broke them all down. We're about a little over an hour away from Illinois Music City Bowl versus Tennessee. Us here in Illinois are excited about that.
JT, you like those helmets,
we're gonna get into hockey. Oh, I love the blue helmet. The navy blue helmet with the script Illinois on it. Oh, super sweet. I know some people didn't like the blue helmet because they're like, oh, we're always orange. Why would we do blue? I love them going blue, all blues, to kind of contrast the light orange for Tennessee, because like our light orange on the dark orange, it just does not look good going against each other. Watching on TV, it's pretty brutal. So I love the fact that they're going all navy blue up and down. I love the new helmets. It should be exciting. A lot of bowl games have been they've been real iffy in these games. Almost everybody seems, as far as I've seen, almost everybody's playing. A couple opt-outs, but most of the main guys are playing. So hopefully we get ourselves a good one.
Yeah, and JT, real quick, I know this. Hey, we're a hockey podcast, but we're excited about this bowl game coming up. I haven't looked at that line yet. Let me know what that line is for that game, but also too, I like the Illinois uniforms with the dark navy, and with the helmets. It does remind you of kind of when Denver went that route, right? With actually they're all blue as well. The Broncos do that, and it has got a real good Broncos feel to it. So I thought they killed it. I thought it was great, and hopefully this is a helmet they'll actually keep in the rotation moving forward next year. I never was big when Illinois actually wore their gray helmets and stuff like that. I never really thought those looked great at all, and they use their gray uniforms. So hopefully they can phase those grays out. I don't think they wore them this year, and kind of just bring these blues into it full at least once a season.
Yeah, I love that idea. Right now, as it sits, -3 Tennessee, over under in that game, 62.5. The only other game going right now, as far as bowl games, Coastal Carolina currently is up 14-6 in the third quarter in the Independence Bowl. And we got one late night bowl game. So while you're watching hockey, also pay attention to that. USC playing TCU. That's at 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time. USC -4.5. Over under, that's 56.5. I kind of like USC there. I think I'm going to go there on that route. And I'm obviously going to be supporting the Illini. So,
well, and JT, why don't you do a crossover tonight, parlay, with some hockey and some bowl games, and I'll tail. So,
I like that. We'll throw that up on the Twitter. Yep, we'll do that. I like to cross sports sometimes on here. We'll do that. Well, I'll throw that up on my page at JT Orange. You can follow me there. Follow Toast at Toast Clark over on the Twitter machine, the X machine. But that's going to do it for us. Hey, everybody, have a good new year. Hopefully, you won some fantasy football championships, and now it's time to go out there and earn some fantasy hockey championships. We're not even close to the end of hockey. We got a long way to go, but hey, now's the time to build, right? We can get football's over. We're ready to go. We're focusing. We're on the hockey train the rest of the way. All right, Toast, that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Check us back every Tuesday night, typically at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central Time is when we have Around the Ice on Fantasy Freedoms. We'll check you next time. Thanks, everybody.